I just wrote a book about how to design your long life. And when my book came out, it was ranked number 97, not in design and not in aging, but in love and romance. Hold on, what? Love and romance? We spent a year researching aging with people who are 65 to 90 across the United States. And I know 87% of Americans fear aging, myself included. That's why I wrote this book, to help us think about aging with optimism. When you fear something, you have two options. Option one is to let fear paralyze you and descend into pessimism. I'm very familiar with this option because my dad was a lawyer. And lawyers are trained pessimists. So here's how my dad would think. My kid keeps on putting bananas in the freezer. And I read that frozen banana peel gives you a high. My kid is a drug addict. Come on. You know, he was a wonderful person, but he couldn't help himself. He was trained to think of the worst possible scenarios. And I am my father's daughter. I wake up a pessimist every morning. In fact, I would have made a great lawyer. But there is a second option, and that option is to be an optimist. And I became an optimist by becoming a designer. I still wake up a pessimist every morning. But I use design to transform myself into an optimist every day. So can you. You can become an optimist using design tools. And I'll share my tools with you today. First, to think like a designer, you gotta love problems, because design is all about problem solving. It's a problem solving discipline. No problems, no design. Sam Farber noticed his wife having a problem peeling potatoes because of her arthritis. She just couldn't grasp the handle. And he could almost feel her pain in his own hands. He had empathy for his wife. I hope he said, "Honey, let me do that." And then he went on to develop this iconic potato peeler with a soft handle to make it easy for her and for all of us. I bet you all have one. So our tool number one is empathy, to turn our pessimism into optimism. Empathy turns our fears into love, just like it did for Sam. So now, with empathy in your hearts, reach out for tool number two, which is a very simple question. It's, what if? What if turns problems into opportunities? So one of the most famous furniture brands asked me to design an office system. And they said, "Ayse, design something that's 50% the cost of our most affordable office system on the market." And I thought to myself, how can you take 50% off of something that already exists? It was like one of those parables in fairy tales. Do this one impossible thing and you can marry the princess. I was terrified. I was paralyzed with fear because this was my one chance and I couldn't afford to fail. And then I thought to myself, hold on. What if this is their way of telling me, Ayse, design something revolutionary? And it took us 3 years to design and develop this new office system. But it was revolutionary. And when it came on the market, It changed the way people think about cubicles. And it had 12 easy pieces that you could combine in almost infinite ways compared to the 300 of its predecessor. It was a fairy tale of a design story, and we still work to this day together. Speaking of fairy tales, brings us to our tool number 3. Play. Play, play, play. When we're playing, we're like kids. We're not afraid of making mistakes. Issei Miyake, the legendary Japanese fashion designer, was asked to design travel clothes. And you know what happens to your clothes when you travel? They wrinkle, right? And so Issei Miyake was a kid at heart, and he decided to play with those wrinkles. And he wrinkled the clothing himself. He took the worst thing that you could do to your clothing, and turned it into a thing of beauty. I'm wearing one tonight. You can see it's all wrinkled. I actually bought this when I was in Tokyo designing toilets for the world's #1 manufacturer of bathrooms and toilets. They asked me to design a toilet, and my first thought was, what was my first thought? They asked me to design a toilet, and my first thought was, it's got to be easy to clean. Because I clean the toilets in our household, and I know, God, it's such a drudgery. And so I decided to design a toilet seat and a lid that you can literally snap off and wash under the faucet, under running water, and then that you could snap them back on again. It sounds like a silly idea, but it was serious innovation. And the Japanese engineers thought so too. And they joined me in making this toilet seat happen. See, when you're playing, you attract other people because fun is contagious. And in design speak, playing together is collaboration. And collaboration totally changes the idea of helping each other. It reframes it. And for a lot of us, it's really hard to ask for help. So instead, ask people to collaborate with you, which is our tool number 4, collaboration. We knew we needed help when we started our research into aging. That's why we invited older people to come and co-design with us. And when we collaborated with them, we learned something that was completely unexpected, and that's they didn't fear aging. It's not that they would deny the challenges, it's just they didn't want to be defined by them. And they told us, look, when it comes to living long, the thrill is not gone. The thrill is on. They were incredible optimists. And when we worked with them, they opened up our viewing angle to see the big picture. And seeing the big picture is our tool number 5. When we see the big picture, we start to see these dots that we didn't see before. And when we see those new dots, we realize that there might be solutions to similar problems in other places. And when we see solutions, even in different places, that gives us hope. And hope boosts our optimism. When we're optimists, problems becomes opportunities. Fear becomes excitement. Work becomes play. Play becomes collaboration. Collaboration helps us see the big picture. And when we see the big picture and we notice these new dots that we can connect in new ways, we realize that we can have new ideas. And when we have new ideas, we dare to change the world, just like me. My book may be 97 in love and romance, but I am #1 in love for teaching you how to use these ordinary, simple design tools to tap into your extraordinary creativity and to transform your inner pessimist into your outer optimist. I rest my case.